Welcome to the Space Limited Accomplishments Interval. My name is Lance Ash, and I'm with my wife Bonnie in the car.
Hello, Lance.
And we're starting the program back up again because I finished the audiobook program. And secondly, because I had another seizure, so that tacks on another 6 months to my can't drive time. My proscription on driving. Anyway, so there's nothing else to do, so I'm going to have to get this the show started up again. However, after this week's program, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks, so I don't know what I'll be posting during that time. Anyway,
Biden won, Biden won, Biden won.
She said Biden won many times. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll talk about that a little bit. But before we do, I want to mention something else. I was just telling Bonnie that after all this time, I finally got a comment on one of my videos.
A response.
A response to one of my videos, which I thought was just very rewarding. You know, you starve somebody, then you give them a crumb, and they're going to be very grateful. Anyway, but in addition to that, I was trying to find the web address to link the text of the audiobook to the videos of the audiobook, and I found out that somebody in Russia has posted or reposted the sum total of the book on their website. Very odd. And some other Slavic country, I assume. I don't know what that CL would stand for. Anyway, so on to we don't normally do political shit on the program, but Biden won, and I don't care what kind of shenanigans Trump pulls at this point. There's no way he can wriggle out of this. As was pointed out online in the last 2 days, when the Bush team protested Gore's win in Florida 20 years ago, that was one state, and it required an army of lawyers just to do that. We're talking about 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 states they'd have to argue about. There's no way they'll do it. And anyway, you have anything to say about this issue?
Well, Biden had his big unity speech last night, and some of the Republican extremists were saying, calling for unity. What about all the name calling in the past 4 years? How you've been talking badly about Trump supporters. I just don't see the point of that, because when you call out racists for being racist, when you call out bigots, misogynists for being basically non-tolerant, that's not a bad thing. So as far as unity is concerned, I don't see the Trump supporters backing Biden under any circumstances. And for them to say that somehow or another this call for unity is hypocritical, I think that's bullshit. That said, I don't think that the Democrats will take the Senate. Mitch McConnell has already said that he's going to interfere. He has already said that he will demand centrists to be in the cabinet, because cabinet positions have to be Senate approved, go through Senate hearings, etc. And he's basically going to end up doing what he did for Obama's 8 years in office, which is obstructionism. And it's our way or the highway when it comes to Mitch McConnell and his ilk.
Well, I'll tell you something that I got a concrete affirmation of over the last week or so. I'll be watching some video about the political situation, and I always watch pro-Biden, anti-Trump videos, and the comments. The pro-Trump, they never make original comments. They always reply to comments, I've noticed. But the pro-Trump replies, I got into little back and forth with some of them, and it turns out that most of these people aren't really pro-Trump because they're really engaged with the policies of the Republican Party as much as they despise Democrats and liberals, and anything to get them riled up, anything that will piss off a Democrat or piss off a liberal, they're for that. So it's a negative philosophy, not a positive one. And that's no way to live. That's childish.
The response to that kind of thing is, number one, don't engage them, Lance. Stop trolling people online, okay?
Well, I'm not trolling.
Well, yeah, you're responding to trolls. You're trolling them in response. Don't do it.
Well,
you know what? Liberals have got to stop having a response that they have had, and they ought to start treating these people like what they are, which is stupid.
Well, number one,
shake your head like it is shameful, and just start treating them like the fools, the uneducated fools from the backwoods.
Well, number one, I've learned to spot people who are just trolls, who are just being contrarian for the sake of being contrarian, and they'll say something and you're like, okay, that person is just like an 8-year-old who trips an old lady just because he can't help it. He's just his habit. But number two, last night especially, I had some back and forth with some people, and just, you know, I didn't get. It was interesting because I was very patient in asking people, well, okay, what is this? Why do you believe that? Blah blah blah, and pushed them to the point where they can't respond because they realize they don't have an argument. It's just no.
Look, you have got to start treating these people like the crazy man on the metro.
But some of them aren't crazy. Some of them are just deluded.
But that's the thing. These crazy people on the metro, they don't necessarily always get up in your face. Sometimes they're just mumbling to themselves. You need to ignore all of them. Those that are mumbling to themselves, or those that are walking up and down screaming their insanity. And that's what all this is. This is insanity. They don't have a leg to stand on. They don't have facts to stand on. They're doing this, like you said, just for the sake of hating for the sake of hating.
Well, hold on. Some of them think that they have an intellectual leg to stand on. Now, I'll give you an example. Back when I worked in Athens, I worked with this guy named Jay, and he was pro-Republican, pro-capitalism, anti what he called transfer payments, and he believed that the Laffer curve proved his position and all this shit. And we would have these debates. He wasn't being an asshole just to be an asshole, but one time we had this big blow up, you know, back and forth, and he marched off in a huff, and he came back a few minutes later, and he came up to me and he just stared at me for a second, huffing and puffing, and finally said, "Lance, I really believe that you could become a millionaire if you just change your mind."
Wait a minute. This is a guy who's working at the PO with you, and yet he's not a millionaire.
Well, he had a finger in every financial pie, so that by the time he retired, he was going to be a millionaire. He had it all laid out, yeah.
I didn't see him quitting anytime before.
Well, anyway.
Why wasn't he that millionaire he claimed he knew the secrets of?
But this idea that if you'll just change your mindset, and you know, it's like a faith. If you'll just
believe it hard enough,
you'll be rich and prosperous.
Oh my God. Which brings us to prosperity gospel bullshit.
Yeah, I had somebody online tell me, you know, Trump is just an exemplar, or one of the reasons that these Christians back him is because he's an exemplar of the prosperity gospel.
Wait. This is the guy who paid $750 in annual taxes because he lost so much money every year, again and again, and has been bankrupted 4, 5, 6 times? No, that's not prosperity. That's a con man.
Well, you remember that woman about 2 months ago they were asking Christians, is Trump really a Christian? Do you think he's really a Christian? And this woman said, he's a successful businessman. You don't get to be a successful businessman unless you're constantly praying to the Lord.
And therein lies the problem with American economics, nationalism, policy, etc. We really have people who believe this idea that America is blessed by God, that we are prosperous because we follow God, and all this other kind of nonsense about God.
I think I've mentioned this on the show before, but one of the things I wanted to, I like, a quote I like, I heard many years ago Lemmy Kilmister talk, or is it Meister or Mister? I can't remember. Lemmy from Motorhead talking about making it in the music industry. And he just told the truth. He said, it's luck. You can be as talented as possible, good looking and all this stuff, but if you're not in the right place at the right time, you're never going to make it. And that's just the reality. America is prosperous because the people, the people who moved here to this continent happened to come across a continent with a bunch of easily, infected native people, because they weren't immune to the diseases that Europeans brought with them, so that wiped out a good half of them. Then they murdered the rest of them, and the land was teeming with resources, and it happens to be isolated by two oceans from what at that time were the military powers on the planet. And I don't know, but anyway, I really didn't want the show to become political, but we're doing this. This is a one-time thing because the election just happened a week ago. So, anything happy to talk about, Bonnie?
Yes, I get to drive you to work for the next 6 months. We get to be stuck in the car together for several hours.
But we have this wonderful YouTube program to put together, and that will make everything better, right?
No, I've already been doing this 6 months. I did it for 6 months previously when you had other seizures. No.
Well, maybe our son can get a car and he can drive himself to work.
Yeah, well, good luck, given the economy being what it is.
Oh, he can save up and buy a car. It'll be all right. The economy's not in the total toilet.
You know how little? He has had his hours drastically cut. Lance, he works below the living wage. The living wage in this area is $10.50 an hour, and he's well below that. He has no benefits at all, no sick leave, no paid time off, no health insurance, and if Trump and his cronies have their way, he's going to lose health insurance coverage under us. So he's going to have to start paying for that out of pocket, what little he can pay.
Well, still, maybe he can get a car. It'll be all right. Let me see if there's anything else we could talk about for the remaining 7 minutes of the program. Well, I had a 3-day weekend because I had a seizure in the car and called in sick. So, personally, I think the seizure was triggered by my big mistake of eating a whole block of Aldi 85% cacao chocolate, thinking, well, the theobromine will give me a great buzz. And I felt sick for 48 hours. 48 hours straight, I felt sick.
Your blood work came back and it indicates you actually have a mild infection.
Infection of what, though? It could be anything.
Yeah, it could be cancer, okay? I mean...
You don't get infected with cancer,
No, the blood work can be indicative of showing things like cancer or a bacterial infection or other things like that, Lance.
Wow, we have a lot to look forward to.
Yes. In other words, you were actually sick, all right?
Well, yeah.
Maybe that made you more prone to have a seizure, or maybe it's the fact that you've been overworking yourself.
No.
Yes, you always push yourself too hard. You always take the job too damn seriously.
Look who's talking.
Excuse me?
When you were working, you would come home and...
I'm working right now, driving your ass to work.
Yeah. Well, anyway, we're passing by the woman who runs a fortune-telling business out of her house.
So what happened to your uncle and her?
No, that was a different woman. But further up the road, about 4 or 5 miles up the road, on the same side of the street, there was a similar house many, many years ago. It was Sister Marie, and she had a picture of one of those charts that you read the palm with out in the front. And my uncle went to her. This is 40 years ago, and she stole his wallet.
Not just his money, but his wallet too.
She had a slogan. It's like, Sister Marie knows all, tells all, or some shit. I can't remember. That was a long time ago. But many, many years ago, before Bonnie and I met, I was drunk, up in Atlanta, and I was in the Chamblee region, and my girlfriend at the time and I were driving around, and we saw at the Chamblee Community Center, or whatever the hell it is, that they were having a fortune teller convention or something. So we're like, oh, let's stop in. Paid $25 a person to go in there, and we could pick any table we wanted. It was full of clairvoyants and seers. And so I picked this one guy, and he reads my fortune through tarot cards. And I am so blind drunk that he just got started. He's like 60 seconds in, and I'm like, oh, wow, well, thanks a lot, man. He looks at me like, where are you going? You haven't gotten your $25 worth yet. So I lean over, and I'm like, well, oh, yeah, okay, well, what else is there? And he's just going through it as fast as he can, because he realizes he's dealing with a nut.
Drunk nut.
Yeah, drunk nut. Oh my God. Alcohol is a terrible drug. Of course, there's a lot of bad drugs. Nutmeg's pretty bad too. The last time I did nutmeg,
oh God, don't talk about this.
It was horrible. I thought I was going to die. But anyway, I have to say this before I get off the nutmeg subject. I can confidently state that I am probably the person on this planet that has done nutmeg more than anyone else. I've done it over 100 times.
So you're the biggest fool in the universe, huh? Oh, okay.
Well, if they just legalized pot, then there would be no,
No. You can't handle pot either. No.
Well, yeah, I haven't had pot yet. As of this week, 3 years I haven't had any, so...
Yeah, you gotta... No, don't go back. You've got an addiction issue. No.
Well, anyway, yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else we can talk about on this return to the show after our long hiatus.
The postal inspectors that are listening to this.
Yeah, I have
Hello?
as of today, I have 7 subscribers, and I'm pretty sure one of them is the U.S. Postal Inspection Service itself. Keep an eye on that guy. Could be dangerous. Could be profitable for us too as well. For notching the feather in the cap, notching that belt, whatever it is.
Fire Louis DeJoy.
I call him DeJoyless.
He is, isn't he?
He'll be gone soon. Biden will say, give that guy a call and tell him to pack his bags. But rest assured, you can check me out thoroughly, and I'm totally blameless without sin.
You and Jerry Falwell Jr.?
I posted, I sent around today my famous picture that I made of Trump shaking hands with Benjamin Netanyahu, and I had stuck in word balloons where Netanyahu said, now remember, the Lord will, your Christian God will withdraw his blessings from the United States unless you do exactly what I say and kiss my ass. And Trump's replying, I know, I've been thoroughly briefed by Franklin Graham. So, ladies and gentlemen, our long national know-nothing is over. And, I should have eaten something. Okay, well, that's close enough to the end. I'm sorry about the rambling, discursive nature of this show. Next week we'll have something a little more substantial, or a little more cohesive.
No, we won't. We'll be on vacation.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, 3 weeks from now. All right. Thank you very much for listening.